Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now? Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson, Sewell. I'm sitting in for Sterling this afternoon, winding down this week, and hope you guys are, just excited about a weekend. I hear it's going to be a wet one, and I have heard so many people saying, oh, we need so much rain, and I'm excited about the rain. And I'm the opposite, because I'm like, it's going to rain the whole weekend? What? Come on. Anyway, we got that and lots more to talk about when we get right back to Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you
to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
And now, back to Radio Cayman Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson, Sewell. I am sitting in for Sterling this afternoon and closing off this week. Today is Friday. Fry-yay, as the young people call it. For the older ones, we're just glad for the rest. For sure. For all of you viewers, hello, and thank you for tuning in. We are so excited because here at Talk Today, it's your voice that we want to hear. So obviously, you can always join in on the conversation. You can contact us through 949-8037 or 949-6990. Or, of course, you can WhatsApp, which is a nice free call there if you're within Wi-Fi or you have data, 925-3261. Okay? And you can always email us. Yeah, so we'd love to hear from you. I do have a guest in the studio already with me, so I'm just going to go straight to that conversation that we're going to be having. That seems very riveting. Actually, it's teaching me a lot of things that I didn't know. I have Dr. Croy McCoy. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Catherine, and the wider public.
Yes.
To my peeps in the sister islands. I'm from Cayman Brac.
All right. And Dr. Croy McCoy is from the Department of Environment. He's the manager of the Marine Resources Unit. And here to talk about fun stuff. Such a fun conversation. I'm joking, by the way. Because I always say when we're talking about science or we're talking about, anything statistical and stuff, I'm always just like, huh? Those were the classes that I struggled the most with in college, by the way. So I'm a social worker, so, but you like this science. What's your background, by the way, before we even get into the conversation? What is your background?
Well, my whole background has been in sciences from my undergrad, my master's, and my PhD is all based in marine biology.
Okay.
So it's almost 30 years of it.
Yeah. So that was something you
I know a
always,
little bit about it.
That a little
And-
bit. 30 years.
And on our reefs, you know. I've been-
Yes, of course.
And-
Was that something you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I started out as a dive master in Little Cayman with my dad.
Okay.
And the curiosity got the better of me and went from there.
Okay. All right. And that's an interesting name, Croy McCoy. I mean, that's your name, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
where my mom found it.
Well, she wanted it to rhyme with the last name. It's very interesting. I've never heard of a Croy before. Heard of Troy.
Yeah, even if you hear of, like St. Croix, but it's OAX, not Y.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. Well, today we're talking about coral bleaching and the impacts of climate change on Cayman's marine ecosystems. So it's a fun conversation. And you were basically asking me some questions before the show, and maybe we could start off with that because that was very interesting. So you asked me, what do I see when I look out at the ocean? Right?
Correct.
Yeah. And that's interesting because everybody might give a different answer, right?
Yeah, but the majority see a endless look at
Right.
things.
Oh, so you kind of predicted I was going to say that.
Yeah, probably 80% people say that.
Okay.
The reason a lot of people only, if they do, it's just some snorkel or some dive, but majority just go to the beach and you're always looking out to the ocean and
Right.
it's that moment of I guess relaxation and stuff that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think that's what brings the relaxation, that you can sit there and just feel like, you can get in that ocean and you can just travel and just be somewhere else and all your troubles are washed away, but apparently it ends.
Yeah, I mean we have a very narrow insular shelf, and it ranges from like by Northwest Point, which is a couple hundred feet to the edge of the shelf, to the eastern western tips of the island, where it extends out further. And what a lot of people don't realize, that's the only productive area we have around these islands.
Okay.
Rather than looking out and seeing an endless productive area, if you want to say that.
Right. And so we're talking about the reefs, right, that kind of surround us?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the coral reefs are first line of defense when it comes to wave attenuation, such as, or dampening the wave action in hurricanes. So without those, we have it full-on wave action. So that is very concerning in the sense of if we lose our reefs, what the consequences will be. And we have been seeing that because we lost our we say aquapods, but locally we call them elkhorn, staghorn, or panshal and stuff in the 80s due to disease called white band. And
Okay.
we lost a lot of those completely around the island, and the people listening that are old enough like me to can remember these reefs, the roar in the night and the beauty of them, and because they were main carbon production.
Right.
And they disappeared starting from around 83, 85 on up to late 80s and then early 90s.
Okay.
And it was a great loss. It's not only happened in Cayman, it happened regionally.
Right. Okay. And so it's not something that's easy to get back. When it's gone, it's gone.
Coral reefs face many challenges, and humans have a tendency to constantly, want more with limited resources. I mean, that's a natural thing. And, reef replenish themselves by, as humans do, with, having babies, I guess you want to call it that, producing larvae, spawning. And when they population is reduced, naturally you're going to have a less of a production. But also when corals are sick, what they produce is not, the offspring is not as strong, as valid as when they're healthy. And reefs have been has faced so many challenges, since the Industrial Revolution, I guess you call it, in the late 1800s, that they keep getting knocked back. And coral reefs are animals, as most species, like even humans. And when they are diseased, sick, or stressed, or anything else, their immune system is denuded, in a sense that it's lowered and stuff, and they're even subjected to more normally, like you yourself, diseases are on your skin, as any doctor would tell you, but you're a healthy person, so it doesn't affect you. But when you're sick and stuff, like these animals, or under heat stress or any other stress, they are subjected to disease like we are, and it will kill them.
Okay. All right. So, I don't know about the listeners, but for me, when you think of coral, you kind of think of this static thing, right? That just exists. But it's a living thing, and it's an animal. Like you said, it's producing, it's reproducing. So if it's not well, it's not producing a strong offspring.
Yeah, and that's how, like I mentioned earlier, that's how any animal sustains a future population, is by reproduction. But last year we had the longest and hottest. We've had hottest records, not only air temperature globally, but also water temperatures.
Okay.
And we know that high temperatures are elevated stress. Water temperatures are the major trigger for coral bleaching. And let me just define coral bleaching as they live in a symbiotic relationship with these microscopic algae called zooxanthellae. That's what gives it its beautiful color. When you see underwater, brown, sort of bluish, pinkish, and all these different colors. And the coral gives the algae a home to live in, but it also they also metabolize each other's byproducts, because corals get 80% of their energy budget, about that, and 20% from heterotrophic feeding, which is with their tentacles and stuff. Anyone that dives will know that.
Will know, yeah.
And when the temperatures get high, we're not sure what chemical or physiological or biological imbalance happens, but they expel these zooxanthellae. They give them the boot, and that's when they go white completely. The coral's still alive, but they can only sustain themselves with heterotrophic feeding, in the out of the water column, extracting stuff for X amount of time. And the bleaching events that we've seen are 4 6 weeks and a max of 8 weeks. Last year we had 19.5 weeks of degree heating weeks, we call it, which is above the threshold, because corals live in the upper limitations of their of the temperatures that we have in the global tropics. And when it exceeds that, that's when this whole bleaching happens. And they will live for X amount of time. And a good analogy is you living on, peanuts or whatever for a couple of weeks. You can sustain yourself on that, but eventually you too is going to succumb to starvation.
We're gonna have to take a break. Silver Fox, who's in the car with me, he's been trying to signal me for a break. But let me tell you, when you're in the middle of a coral reef conversation, it's not that easy. We're going to take a quick break, though. You're tuned in to Talk Today, and we are talking to Dr. Croy McCoy. We're talking about coral bleaching, impacts of climate change, talk all things coral and things that you need to know, things that I didn't know. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more Talk Today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
The community is invited to come enjoy the new farmers market at the Agricultural Pavilion Showgrounds in Lower Valley. Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Local produce and agriculture products, authentic Cayman food, and catch up with your friends and neighbors while the kids play. Eat, shop, and play at the farmers market at the Agricultural Pavilion Showgrounds in Lower Valley, Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. It promises to be a fun day for everyone with other events to follow.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Celebrate Father's Day with Digicel. This Father's Day, give Dad the gift of better connectivity with Digicel. Switch Dad to Digicel and get 50% off the plan for the next 3 months. It's the perfect way to show your appreciation and keep Dad connected. Switching is easy. Visit your nearest Digicel store today. Don't miss out on this amazing deal. Make this Father's Day one to remember with Digicel. Better connected.
There's nothing more important than your health, and seeking expert healthcare with physicians you can trust is what you deserve. UHealth, the University of Miami Health System, offers peace of mind to you and your family with a first-class experience. Our patient coordinators assist with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. As South Florida's only academic-based health system, UHealth offers cutting-edge treatment, compassionate care, and life-changing results just a flight away. Learn more at umiamihealth.org/international.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And welcome back to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson Sewell. I am your host. And what's on our mind right now? A lot of things. We are talking about coral bleaching coral reefs. I am here with Dr. Croy McCoy. He is from the Department of Environment. He is the manager of the Marine Resources Unit. And let me tell you, before the break, we were talking about the coral, and I had a question, Dr. Croy, is you said what they eat, right? What do they eat?
You know, they extract, I guess you could say detritus and stuff out of there. Just stuff out of the water column with their tentacles. That's the heterotrophic side of it. And then that's only about 20%, as I mentioned, of their energy budget. Okay. And then the other 80% comes from the plant themselves. They metabolize their byproducts. And it's sort of like a nutrient cycle going on within that, at a cellular level. So
they're kind of eating themselves?
No,
not really. But yeah.
We all got to get rid of waste. It's really good, and they're very efficient at it.
Okay. So they're eating their waste.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation where they
wow.
both really benefit from it.
Okay.
But when that whole cycle or system is disrupted, it sort of goes haywire, and the coral starves to death over time. The past bleaching events I've witnessed a fair bit here. It is a fact that, the last 6 weeks, then the water starts to cool down a bit. And as I mentioned earlier, this one was 19 and a half weeks, almost 5 months.
Okay.
So, it was extreme, but it's the hottest and longest on record ever for globally, and for the region, and for Cayman.
Right.
And the hot spot was last year was centered around the Jamaica region, and the extreme temperatures extended from there down towards the Honduran Shelf, Nicaragua, and that area there. But it was unprecedented, and we will not know the true consequences of this, because when corals are bleached, and because it has a lot of trickle-down effects, as I mentioned, their whole immune system is compromised, it's denuded, and they're subjected to disease,
right?
Or diseases, because there's several out there, and usually, even though they recover, the far-reaching consequences of that can extend up for a few years. But what's happening now is the fact that, as Hugh Goldberg predicted in 1999, that on the trajectory we're on with heating the climate up, and that it will become an annual thing between 2030 and 2050. And by 2100, reefs will pretty much disappear if we're continue down that path on the wrong bus. We're going in the wrong direction, what I'm saying.
Okay,
And
yes.
So, that being said, any warm environment, diseases flourish. And so it can be expected that other challenges are going to be for coral reefs.
Right.
And they're capital assets. We came and found them here, and they have so many benefits that for livelihoods, for our economy, storm protection, source of protein, fish, and the list goes on and on and on. And it's only right, which we've been trying to do, and we've done a pretty good job of trying to use this in a sustainable way. Having our marine protected areas and everyone abiding by the laws, hopefully.
Right.
But we're dealing with a total something that's really outside of our scope to control, outside of doing our own bit of, I always say putting the kettle on, because, it's like putting the kettle on. You heat the water up slowly, but it takes a long time to cool down.
Right, right.
So, that's what we've been doing for the last, since the late 1800s, since the Industrial Revolution. But, we can reduce on the level of local to help at a global. It's going to take a concerted effort globally to try to turn the bus around.
Right.
But, locally we can reduce our carbon footprint, for one.
So tell us, I just want you to break it down for the lay people like myself. You mentioned the benefits of the reefs. And I was just thinking, when you mentioned protein, you mentioned the fish. Tell me, what's the relationship with all of these things? Like, I understand that before. I don't know about the listeners, but it does help with wave action, to protect us from that. What are some of the other benefits of the coral reefs that we might not even be aware of?
Well, you go to 7 Mile Beach or you go to any beach, and that's like we mentioned earlier, it's your form of relaxation. Where do you think those beaches are coming from? From the reef system. When you go and have dinner at a restaurant, where do you think those fish is coming from? Where do you think we sell our tourism product wrapped around all the benefits of having healthy coral reefs? Whether it's the dive industry, snorkeling, sandbar with the rays, all these animals are intertwined, I guess you could say, because it's sort of, when you're teaching kids, you give each kid a string, but make one pull. The rest of them are going to feel it. So they all interact in a healthy environment to make this all work and benefit us as a whole. So a lot of our reefs, some have more economic value, such as, say, Eden Rock, because of the tourism. But all reefs are valuable, and they all give us a lot of benefits that, we don't appreciate and understand. And it's only morally and for us to be good stewards to use reefs in a sustainable way.
Right.
Because of the many benefits. Because I can guarantee you, every red-blooded Caymanian that leave these islands, that someone asks them, anything about Cayman, whether it's Grand, Little, or Brack, they're going to reflect on something, whether it's the crystal clear waters, whether it's the beaches, whether it's the diving, whether it's the fishing. They associate themselves with the environment. That's why we love living here. That's why we continue to live here. And that's why people move here, because of that environment. Every aspect of our lives, we base it around, whether it's terrestrial or marine, we base it around the environment that we live in. And as holistically, we need to establish a principle within our own selves to manage and use these resources in a sustainable way.
Right.
And I know we're getting off track from bleaching in effects.
We'll come back. Don't worry. We'll come back. I'll keep you on track. Don't worry. Just take us where you're going. It's all right.
I'll jump back to bleaching.
Because I want to know what is bleaching. So that's I want you to kind of break that down for us. And what is coral bleaching, and how is it different from the stony coral tissue loss disease, which is already affecting our reefs?
I've been working with coral diseases quite some time, and the Caribbean is a hot spot for coral diseases. We account for 60% of them globally, and there's
diseases?
many
the
coral diseases. Period.
Okay.
The different kinds.
Because we're so hot. Is that why?
I can give you my opinion, because the Caribbean Sea is pretty much an enclosed sea, in the sense that you have the Lesser Antilles that wrap around to the east, and we got Cuba to the south, and we got Central and South America Cuba to the north, and Central and South to the south of us. And water sort of comes in through, I call them culverts, between the islands that pour into the Caribbean Sea, and then you have the Caribbean mainstream current that come down. There's really one exit, and that's the Yucatan, and it all can't go through that. So you have a Cuba conicurrent. I did a lot of larval modeling for fish, so I know a bit about how currents move. And it comes back up, and you get a circular motion. And that's why if there's any disease outbreak, it affects the whole region.
Right.
Eventually, it mightn't be tomorrow, next week, or next month, but it'll get there.
Everybody's getting
And
it.
stony coral disease started out in Florida, and that it was a novel disease, so that's why it affected so many different corals, the stony corals, the boulder ones, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And it just kept jumping island to island to island till it eventually pretty much wrapped around the region. I have my own theory because we tracked it from the get-go in an area smaller than this room here, how it moved and species affected, and up till today we're still doing that. So we have a lot of data on that. But that disease, we haven't coined it yet, the actual pathogen for it, but we know it's a disruption of these animals, the zooxanthellae, because the tissue sloughs off. And it's rapid too. This, whatever biological or chemical basis behind it, we still yet to figure all that out. But we know it's plant-based because the virus is rectangular shape versus like COVID, which is circular, or maybe a combination of both. The jury's still out on that whole thing. But it infects the coral, and it develops lesions. It's very different from a lot of the other coral diseases where it very host specific or species specific.
Yeah, it's very obvious that something's wrong as well.
Yeah, and it's a bit like COVID, I guess you want to call it, where you weren't exposed to it before, so you're highly susceptible to it.
Right.
That's why it affected almost all of the boulder coral versus the branching corals. But it's some of them we've recorded up to 5 centimeters a day tissue loss, and it just goes completely white. But the difference is the tissue, the animal is dead with right away with the stony coral tissue loss disease versus bleaching, where it's white still, but it's still alive. You can still see the tentacles and the tissue below that white skeleton, which is the calcium carbonate skeleton.
Right. So I'm seeing here in reference to the question about the stony coral tissue loss disease, the difference between the two is that bleaching is far more deadly.
Yeah.
One may appear more deadly, but because bleaching is more widespread and it occurs more consistently.
Yeah, we know that the disease, stony coral tissue loss disease, sort of recedes a bit with bleaching only because of the expulsion of zooxanthellae, which it affects the tissue.
Okay.
But bleaching affects almost everything that have these are microscopic algae in it. I mean, the octocorals, the stony corals, all of it, the branching coral, it's the whole reef basically gets bleached. So even the little gorgonians, if you snorkel, you see going they'll go white too because they'll lose the tissue, those zooxanthellae in it. So it's very across the platform, if you want to speak. And these extended bleaching periods kills the animal. And also the sheer fact that whenever bleaching is this extreme, the animal is more vulnerable to diseases in a water column. And as you know, anything in a water column is very difficult to deal with.
Right.
So the whole mechanism breaks down. Everything goes haywire. So they're exposed and vulnerable to any disease that's out there, almost in one sense. But the stony coral just affects the boulder corals as we know it.
Okay.
And the branching corals were not affected. However, bleaching affects everything across the board. So that's why it's more lethal. But bleaching also has diseases secondary to that, because their immune system is compromised.
Right.
So that's why it's very dangerous, and the recovery is a lot longer.
Okay. So, yeah, one question before the break. I'm going to take a break, and then we'll go to the news. What are we doing to cause it? And what can we do to stop it? That's probably that's probably a longer question than
which
you
you
can
talking
answer
about
that in 30 seconds.
about bleaching, or are you talking about stony coral?
Yeah, no, bleaching.
Bleaching.
Right.
For one, it's, as I mentioned earlier, the kettle is boiling, and
right.
We need to
can we take it off the pot? Is there anything we can do?
It took us a long time to get here with all the red flags warning us, and it's going to take a long time to get us out of here.
Oh, okay.
But we can start from today,
all right.
Reducing our carbon footprint.
All right. We'll talk about that when we come back, because that's what I'd like to talk about as well, so that we're more proactive right now that we know. Yeah, because we're just driving around, walking around, not realizing all of these things, right? And swimming and, just, as they say, sucking off the teat and then not realizing that you got to feed the cow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that.
Humans tend to think in their lifetime you're a very short-lived species compared to others.
Yes, but when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Dr. Croy McCoy will stay with me. He's from the Department of Environment. And, of course, I'd love to hear from you all when we come back. We'll take a quick break, and we'll go to the news, and then we'll talk again.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Prescription refills made easy at Savannah Pharmacy. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045.
Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman, WORC, advises customers that their customer care services have moved to Artemis House, located at 67 4th Street, Georgetown. Visit us at the new location for services relating to payments, application submissions, and endorsement stamps. Call us at 945-9672 or visit worc.ky to learn more.
Yesterday,
today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Jevi Ebanks. In honor of King Charles III's birthday, festivities are expected to take place next Saturday, June the 15th. The day is expected to feature the traditional parade of uniformed services, awards to birthday honorees, and the annual garden party at the Cayman Islands Government House on West Bay Road. The proceedings will be broadcasted live on Radio Cayman. In regional news, the IMF is set to review a staff agreement that could grant Suriname access to US $61.8 million. If approved, this would bring the total to $384.3 million provided under the Extended Fund facility since December 2021. Despite missing some targets, Suriname is taking corrective measures and advancing structural reforms. The country is working towards a primary surplus target of 2.7% of GDP by 2024, amidst challenges like overspending on electricity subsidies and weak revenue collections. Efforts are underway to improve VAT collection and public sector efficiency, including removing inactive civil servants from the payroll. The focus remains on protecting the vulnerable. The Central Bank of Suriname is committed to a flexible exchange rate and is addressing banking system vulnerabilities, including requiring banks and capital deficits to submit recapitalization plans. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, has praised Trinidad and Tobago's Dennis Francis for his leadership as the current UNGA president. Philemon Yang, former Prime Minister of Cameroon, has been elected as the next UNGA president. Yang is recognized for his dedication to peace, sustainable development, and human dignity. That's your latest headlines. I'm Jevi Ebanks.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
At Kirk Market, it's so easy to eat well and find healthy options. With their fresh veggies from local farmers, hormone-free chicken, local seafood, and grass-fed meats, Kirk Market has delicious, quality food at the best prices. And you must check out their fresh salad bar, hot bar, and med bar for daily healthy options on the go. Their delicious dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients such as prime meats and organic veggies. Eating great is important to me. That's why Kirk Market is my store. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and shop happy.
HSA's Urgent Care Clinic is now open 7 days per week to serve you better. Visit our dedicated team at Urgent Care Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and weekends and public holidays, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. No appointment necessary. If you are experiencing non-life-threatening symptoms and conditions such as the cold and flu, sprains and cuts, earaches, nausea and vomiting, visit Urgent Care's walk-in clinic at the main entrance of the Georgetown Hospital, now open every day. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its customers of a planned service interruption and traffic disruption in the Industrial Park area on Sunday, 9th June to facilitate infrastructure maintenance in the area. Traffic will be diverted from the northbound lane of Lincoln Drive to the southbound lane between the hours of 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The maintenance requires 2 separate service interruptions. A service interruption on Seymour Road between the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. a service interruption on Lincoln Drive and adjacent roads between the hours of 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Customers on the following roads will be affected by this service interruption: Lincoln Drive, Sparky's Drive north of the intersection with Lincoln Drive, Sleepy Hollow Drive, Blue Lagoon Drive, Ali B Drive, Hidden Lagoon Drive, and Diane Drive. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it upgrades its water infrastructure and apologizes for any inconvenience caused.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Talking about.
And welcome back to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson Sewell, I'm your host. And of course, we'll just get right back into the conversation. We're talking about coral bleaching. We're talking about what we can do that's going to make a difference. I'm here with Dr. Croy McCoy. And what were you saying?
No, I just wonder where we had dropped off. Excuse me, earlier.
Okay, so we were talking about, I asked what we could do, and so you were talking about a carbon footprint.
Yeah, and getting back to that is the ocean is why we exist on this planet. Without that it would not happen, so to speak. And it absorbs about 25% of our CO2 or greenhouse gases, and produces like 50% of our oxygen. Over 50%.
Right.
And it absorbs about 90% of the heat we produce. But like everything else, it has its limitation. So when I say carbon footprint, we can start reducing that. For one, our energy usage, amongst many things that we can do. The Cayman Islands is some of the smallest islands in the whole region, but we're one of the biggest, I guess you want to say, consumers or carbon producers, if you want to put it that way, or greenhouse gases, and which is just a bit sad. Look at the amount of cars on the road.
Right.
Good idea.
Right, exactly.
Is that necessary? So, you start by reducing our carbon footprint, and it's a collective effort we have to globally to hopefully slow this train down over the next 100 years or more. So, that being said, as each individual can start from today, they're reducing their carbon footprint. But on a local scale, getting back to bleaching, we can, help the reef in a sense of, in ways that we reduce stress on the reef, which is, you don't touch corals, for one. It's illegal to start with, but, accidents do happen. Just be extra careful.
Right.
And, we can use, I guess you call it coral-friendly sunscreen that doesn't, a lot of people splash it on and stuff. There's some sunscreens out there that you can that are environmentally friendly.
Just imagine all these people with all that sunscreen in the ocean. Yeah, right?
And,
things you don't think about.
Yeah, and, anchoring, a lot of people don't think anyone is watching them, or, because corals are protected since 1978. So, and, when you anchor a boat, you don't put the anchor into a coral, because that is no different from you taking a knife and cutting yourself open. or somebody hitting you with a saw or something, there's a thin veneer tissue, and that gets exposed and damaged when people drop anchors on.
No one's literally thinking these things, so I'm so glad that you're actually bringing this to our attention. I'm sure a lot of people are aware of it. They've heard it before, but it's just good to be reminded.
Yeah, most Caymanians are very environmentally conscious and do their best part to
But I remember
help our reefs.
I remember growing up. I remember being on a boat and they're saying, just the reef will hold us. So hoping that the reef would hold on to the anchor so that we're safe. I think and that's many years ago, but I think as you're saying, it's like cutting yourself. So that's good that we're becoming aware of that.
It's like, thinking of dropping a hammer on your foot.
That doesn't sound fun.
That's what you do when you drop a anchor
on
a Caymanians call it a calic, or
because
a lot of people use the blocks and stuff. I see a lot of them out there.
Right.
But it's just the little things.
It's a living thing. Yes. We have a caller on the phone. We'll go to the phone.
Sure. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, caller. You're on Talk Today. Good afternoon, caller. Okay. All right. So let's get back to it. All right. So we talked about what we could do. We could try to, look at our own carbon footprint and try to, just
reduce
pay attention.
that.
Little things like that. Yes. And
just think of how you can use things in a sustainable way. That, as human beings, we normally think in our own lifespan or next year, or it depends on your age, actually. And because, as I mentioned earlier, we are short-lived species compared to coral reefs.
Right.
And, the Cayman Islands are calcium carbonate caps on top of mountaintops of the Sierra Maestra Mountains. So we exist because of coral reefs, and a lot of people don't realize that. So we're literally sitting here on a coral reef.
Right. Wow.
And, unless those animals continue to grow, we won't have a Cayman Islands in a couple of 100 years or shorter, with the thermal stress that the global tropics are experiencing, which is disrupting, ice caps are melting and giving rise to sea level. And that's a bit like cancer, you don't realize it till it's too late a lot of times. And,
right.
And then you can't do nothing about it. And the carbonate budget on our reefs are going in the other direction, and sea level rise going in the opposite. It's a bad combination for us in the long term, because a lot of these reefs that we see out there snorkeling and diving are hundreds of years old.
Right.
And a lot of people don't think that.
So that must be incredible, because I was going to ask, how do you study this, right? But I see that you have coral spawning labs, right, which allow you to breed and grow the corals in a lab environment and expose it to a number of variables to research their effects. That must be something to see.
Yeah, and I'd like to give kudos to the Foster Group who sponsored this. We're a very environmentally conscious group of individuals.
Right.
We have that, and last year we spawned corals in there. And collectively together, the department or CIG is moving in the direction of coral restoration of what we can do.
Right.
And what we did with this lab is we have it set up for spawning. We take individuals that survive the thermal stress of last year and the disease, stony coral, and other diseases. We just take a healthy animal and put it in the lab in the conditions there, and we spawn them. And
okay.
In hope of eventually building. We have plans for a grow-out phase, because it was a trial basically to prove proof of concept, which
was
we've
proven.
done.
And so how long did it take?
Coral is slow growing. I mean, the ones that we're actually doing there, we have the reef builders, you call them, the big star corals, and we have the in there now some of the staghorn coral that survived last year stress event. Because I mean, please realize that stress event wiped out tens of millions of dollars of coral nurseries throughout the region, but almost nothing survived except handfuls of them from thousands and thousands of corals that people have fragmented and spawned and everything else because of the high temperatures.
Wow.
So we have these resilient corals in the lab that we're going to spawn, and the branching corals grow a few inches a year, but the boulder coral that we also spawn in they grow a few millimeters a year.
Right.
It's a long process, and you got to be in it for the long run, but you got to start somewhere.
Right.
And we eventually want to propagate these and grow them out and put them on the reefs.
All right. Well, we have a caller. We'll go to the phones. Good afternoon, caller. You're on Talk Today.
Yeah. Good afternoon. I heard Corey there mention that there's not many panchols left. Did I hear that correctly?
Correct.
Correct, you say?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Okay, another question. What effect do you think that the flow of the breeze, over these reefs, especially that are close to shore, and all around the island, I guess we got panchols, or however you want to call them, that's maybe 50 yards offshore, or even closer. Now, with the interruption of the breeze coming across these things, and it don't have to be right on the reef. It can be 50 yards from the reef, where the wind flow is interrupted. Therefore, I surmise that you don't have the cooling effect. Therefore, the coral, is exposed to more heat. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we did a lot of surveys trying to find what did survive last year, thermal stress, and we've located 6 colonies so far around Grand Cayman, and we've gone from East End to Georgetown because a lot of them totally bleached and literally are dead. But there are some survivors, and the ones that did survive are at a little deeper depth, and that's only because of it actually a little cooler, because not only do you have the higher water temperatures, the shallower areas, but you also have high UV, which is sunlight, which further stresses the coral with that. So a lot of them that were shallow are totally wiped out almost around the island, but some of the deeper ones that we know that we found, and we've actually located and have those and monitoring the health of those.
Well, has there been any? And you mentioned anchors, and I suppose over the last could be 50 years, when the cruises started coming in here, 73, 72. Anyway, that has been one of the things that, as I hear it, I haven't seen it, but from reliable sources, that all of the stuff in Georgetown Harbor is dust, more or less. Now, currently, are there any educational process in trying to direct these folks to anchor in the white holes, which was, a practice from way back? The Goldfield wouldn't anchor on the reef. They'd look for a white hole, and there are white holes all along the 7 Mile Beach, or you want to call it Northwest Point, Southwest Point Vista. Now, are there any educational process to identify the users who would use that vista to anchor in these white holes?
Yeah, on the Georgetown, I know the Deep Reef. I've been there and looked at that. It's been a sacrificial area for cruise ships since the 80s, and it's pulverized basically. But the shallow reefs in Georgetown are, as you probably know, you can see there, it's night and day. Anywhere where anchors are dropped, as you know, it's going to be fully destroyed. But even in our brochures from the DOE brochures on marine protected areas, we have that you anchor in the sand and not to touch, that nothing touches coral. So, and it's quite clear there in the sense of if you do damage coral doing that, what the consequences are, and hope that people do abide by the laws that we have here. And I'll revert to the Port Authority for anchoring boats into areas that are designated, whether it's buoyed. I know we have some there in Georgetown for sailboats and such, and then other areas, that anchorage areas, there's a big sand area for boats to anchor.
Well, I mean, what do you see as the outcome of the process that's being applied now and the global warming narrative? We're not going to have any reefs in 40 years?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, what's happening now was projected from '99 in a paper by Hugh Goldberg, which was he modeled the rise in temperatures that's happening globally in the ocean temperatures, and he predicted from then that we start seeing coral bleaching on an annual basis, and just thinking of bleaching on an annual basis, then the corals take a fair bit of time to recover from bleaching. And if it just seems as humans, if we have a disease and then we get hit by another disease again, and as such, we're going to keep knocking us back. And that's what's really happening with corals. And I've monitored the live coral tissue in these islands since 1995. And as these events happen, it's being reduced. And it seems like it stabilizes for a period of time till another event comes along, and then it reduces again. So it's always been on a downslope for coral reefs. And going back to the projection on that, and if this planet cools to 1.5 or 2 degrees Celsius above where we're headed at the moment, because coral reefs live in the upper limits of their tolerances and temperatures, every fraction of a degree matters. So based on that model and what we're seeing in reality, that's what's happening with the continued warming of our oceans. And he had predicted that what we're seeing now would be like 2030 or 2050, and we're starting to see it now. I imagine by possibly at this rate, by 2100, we won't have any left.
Well, are there any difference in what you could say the diseases of the coral? Let's say that's on the sort of southwestern section of the island compared to what would be on the more or less northeastern, I guess, sort of northwestern section. let's say between Barcus and what you see in the what do you call the West Bay Vista?
Yeah, I'll in the Barcus area within the back reef there, because I did some work there in 2020 with putting some healthy corals there, because we're tracking and monitoring the stony coral tissue loss disease around Cayman, and even into the shallows there, it eventually got there. So, as you probably know, in any water column, disease it's a very hard thing to work with, because it's constantly moving with the currents and such. So, disease prevalence, whether it's in the north, south, east, or west, might be a little different depending on the species composition, because a lot of diseases are host specific, in the sense that it'll affect one species more than the other, and these islands are dependent on coasts, have compromise of different. Though the same species, the abundance of each species is a little different. So that's the only variation you get as far as diseases are concerned. It might be less of one, but more of the other, depending on the abundance of the species there. But stony coral tissue loss disease started up by just up from the Rum Point area, and it spread completely around the island, and it had as much of a damaging effect. It didn't matter. It weren't specific to coast.
Well, sounds like a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
but the battle, but the losing battle.
In a nutshell, all the challenges and a lot of the issues that we were all facing with coral reefs and everything else, it's all, you can trace it all back to human related or cause and effect.
Right. So. Yeah. Well, that's the kind of point. I mean, we're pouring this on our own self.
Exactly.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that call this afternoon. Yeah, I mean, he could have been doing this interview. He was holding you to the fire, man. Let me tell you. I'm going to end this interview really with thanking you for joining us this afternoon, Dr. Croy McCoy, and thanking you for all that you're doing over there. I think you've mentioned 20-something years.
29.
29. So. I heard 29. 29 years. And so I'll just end it with, is there anything we can do to really be prepared for the effects of climate change? What are some of the things that we can do? Because it does sound a little bleak, obviously, and maybe not in our lifetime, but we can't just be living for our lifetime, right? We need to think about sustainability when we're gone.
Yeah.
We don't want to burn down after we're gone,
We're at the point where that I think we need to really think long term, beyond 10 years, beyond 20 years, and beyond 50 years. What our actions, knowing what we know now, will help sustain the Cayman Islands as we know it now.
Right.
And, this is all going to take time, but we got to think in the long term and be more environmentally friendly, if
Absolutely.
you want to say that, and more using stuff in a very sustainable manner rather than a destructive manner.
Yeah, it's our world, right? So it's like it's almost like just the whole thought process of save something for tomorrow. We don't have to consume everything today.
But we're past a tipping point now, and
right.
And reducing our carbon footprint, as mentioned earlier, is one of the key things to sustainability of
right.
of our islands.
Right.
And building more resiliency in what we build, our buildings, more eco-friendly, and the cars that we buy and drive,
right?
And and what we eat, our seafood choices. There's good choices out there,
right?
It's just the same as eating herbivores versus a more sustainable fish,
right? Right.
There's such herbivores. Like the parrotfish and stuff like
that. Right.
So there's many things that we can do, and it's no better time to start than today. And
right.
You don't have to dig too deep to find out what you can do.
Right.
It's quite obvious.
Right. So I'm gonna close off the show. We'll close off this segment of the show, and we're gonna take a break. But I want to ask you one final question. With all of this stuff that's on the horizon, how do you stay so calm? I'd be mad.
Because I believe in people.
Good for you.
We all have a good heart.
Good for you.
And we all love these islands.
Yes.
And we all like making a difference. So I think, in a nutshell, there's a lot of hope that, we have a new climate change draft policy last year, and they can go onto the government website, and there's a lot of information in there on how you can prepare yourself, but also how you go about your daily business,
right?
That in the long term will help not only just our islands but globally,
the world.
Yeah.
And we're all world citizens. Thank you so much for coming in, Dr. Croy McCoy. I really appreciate that conversation, and I hope that the listeners were able to, really get something from it, but also recognize all of our responsibility. We're all in this together.
We are.
So we need to do our part. Dr. Croy McCoy, the manager of Marine Resources Unit from the Department of Environment, thank you so much. You have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back with more Talk Today. So do you.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
As part of the ongoing CIG Georgetown Revitalization Project, a road closure affecting Edward Street northbound from Elgin Avenue will be put in place from 6 a.m. Saturday 8th June till 10 p.m. on Sunday 9th June to facilitate continuing trenching works. A diversion from the northbound lane of Shedden Road will be put into place.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Celebrate Father's Day with Digicel. This Father's Day, give Dad the gift of better connectivity with Digicel. Switch Dad to Digicel and get 50% off the plan for the next 3 months. It's the perfect way to show your appreciation and keep Dad connected. Switching is easy. Visit your nearest Digicel store today. Don't miss out on this amazing deal. Make this Father's Day one to remember with Digicel. Better connected.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And welcome back to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson Sewell, I'm your host. And trust me, Silver Fox be gone without me. I don't know how you drive in this car without me. I'm like running, in old days, you'd be running and trying to jump into the car. Remember you had to start the stick shift? When you'd be pushing it. This is what it feels like. And on the show with you, Silver, you gotta wait till I'm ready. All I hear is Joel, what's on your mind? I'm like, wait a minute. Let me jump in this car here. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. I am your guest host sitting in for Sterling, and it has been a week. I have told these guys I don't know how they do it. Poor Sterling is chained to this chair for 2.5, 3 hours. Hungry, cold. I mean it. It is something else. But it's been amazing, and I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, listening, the ones that are out there watching on YouTube. Hello, thank you so much. And you just heard about the environment. You just heard about the coral bleaching. You heard about the climate change and reducing your carbon footprint and all sorts of great things that we need to be doing to ensure that our world is okay. Our island is okay, but our island is just a little place in the big world. And so don't eat everything for today. In other words, you know what your mother used to tell you? Don't eat it all today. Save it for tomorrow, because we're kind of in that type of society where we're just, overindulging with everything. But, take time. The corals are actually living beings. He was talking about them. He said they're animals, like when you remove the animal, like he was talking about it with such reverence, and we don't think like that. So it was really great to have that conversation with him. And I have 2 guests in studio with me, and I'm always excited about that because it's nice to have people to talk to, or else I have to find things to talk about. And for my viewers, I know you see the mess on this table. This is not how my house looks, I'm just saying.
That's what research looks like.
Yeah.
That's what research
Something
looks
like that, exactly.
Yeah.
So the voice that you've just heard is none other than Miss Katina Anglin. When you gonna be Pastor Katina Anglin? When you gonna be Bishop? You're gonna be one of them soon.
I don't even advertise that I'm an attorney at law.
Okay, all right. I usually say that anyway, but what you've come for today and what we talk about a lot is why I said that.
Yes.
But yeah, you are an attorney at law, and you're here to talk about the March for Jesus.
Yes.
And you have with you
Dr. Monica Blandon from Iglesia de
Embajadores de Dios.
Okay.
Iglesia
de Embajadores de Dios. And that's Ambassadors of God Church.
Yes.
All right.
And it just sounds so elegant.
Yeah.
In Spanish, how it just kind of rolls off there. But of course, the important part is that they are ambassadors of God, regardless of what language it is that they're saying it in.
Yes. Yes.
You may be happy to know that I just got my certificate in chaplaincy.
All right. No, I'm very excited about that. I think it's been a long time coming.
Yes. Maybe not pastor, but a chaplain.
All right.
Chaplain is trained
Put that in front of your name right here now.
deal with trained to deal with in the aftermath of traumatic events.
Okay.
And particularly focused on natural disasters. But traumatic events are to the individual. You know, it can be just someone who you love dearly passed away.
Right.
You know.
Yes.
And so how do you help that person through that trauma?
Absolutely.
So
yes. Trauma can come in various ways. Yeah.
Yes.
You'll be surprised, and you're not in any position to judge what's trauma for someone else too.
Thank you, and that's what chaplaincy does for you. It allows for you to deal with the individual.
Yes.
Not the personality.
Right.
You know, it's not about what their belief system is or is not. It's about them. You got to be able to do it without discrimination or judgment, condemnation.
Right.
You're looking at them as a human being and trying to help them through the trauma.
Right.
So that's actually where I'm headed.
Where did you get that certificate from?
I got that certificate from the International Organizations of Chaplains through Harvest Church here on Grand Cayman. They're doing a full qualification course.
That's nice.
They do other things also in qualification in ministry, including they host the Theological Institute training and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah, that's Harvest Church.
Where's Harvest Church, by the way?
Harvest Church is just behind Markson's Furniture.
Okay.
It's pastors Winslow and Diana Johnson, and you may remember Diana from the GEMS program.
Okay.
At the high school.
Okay.
So
where did you hear about it from? The certificate program.
Oh, I'm on there.
Okay.
I like to say this. I'm connected.
Okay. You connected all kinds of ways. All right. So Harvest Church, I mean, it's just interesting. So if someone listening, they'd be able to check it out.
Yes.
All right. So what are we talking about today? We just had a march for Jesus
which was
May
on
18th.
Yeah. And it was, I think phenomenal is a good word to use for it.
Yes, that was amazing.
Yes. How many people turned out, you'd say?
It was a couple of hundred that turned out.
Okay.
But remember, it was not just a march, it was also a motorcade.
Right. Okay.
It was also a bicycle ride.
Okay.
People were on their scooters. You know, people came on their something you push again, skateboard.
Okay.
And we even had people riding their horses. And so they came however they could to participate in the March for Jesus. I think if you added them all up, I believe it would be fair to say that we had 1,000 people participating.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, because we had quite a lot of people in their cars participating in the motorcade. And just this coming week here, we're going to release the video capturing some of the moments.
Okay.
So you just check us out on our Facebook page for that. And of course, at the end of the march, we had the praise and worship concert.
Oh, yes.
And Dr. Monica, who I sometimes refer to as Pastor Monica.
Okay.
So pastor and doctor are one and the same if you're listening in. It's not two different people. Was also a participant in the concert.
Okay.
You know? And I wonder if you'd like to share your experience about the march and the concert afterward.
Yes, I was so excited because I know the Cayman Islands, it's in the heart of Jesus. And this marching was like, yes, what Jesus put that vision into Miss Katina and all the association churches and all of that, because Jesus wants to do something wonderful and big in Cayman Islands in the hearts of people. He wants to recognize to everyone that he's here for us and he loves us and he loves this island. And this island is anointed by him. And when we were marching, I was singing and I felt his spirit.
Right.
And I know that he was there with us. And I know that's the will, all of the body of Christ. We should be doing this often to mark Cayman Island for Jesus. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And so immediately after the march, when we got into Georgetown, Albert Panton Street, you know, everybody came back and said, we need to do this more often. We need to do this.
Right.
You can't just do this once a year. We're going to have this again. Can we do it in 3 months? I said, oh boy, have I got a surprise for you today then. So just stick around, you know. So at the Praise and Worship concert was where we announced the March for Jesus came on Brack.
Okay.
On the 22nd of June, just 2 weeks from tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So we are looking forward to going over there.
So how many people are going from Grand Cayman?
So I got to get an update from our Marshall's team leader, who is also liaising with Cayman Brack.
Okay.
But I think we pretty much got Alexandria
booked.
Yeah.
Okay. So it'll be for the weekend type of thing.
Some are flying over from Friday morning, and then they're coming back on Sunday afternoon. Some
Okay.
are going over on Saturday morning and coming back on Sunday. So.
And it's happening June 22nd is what day?
It is a Saturday.
Okay.
Yes.
And what time does it?
It starts at 4 p.m.
Okay.
And the route is from the
From the Port Authority to Watering
Place Gardens.
Okay.
And it's at Watering Place Gardens where we're going to have the
concert.
The concert.
So
Yes.
how far is the walk then?
It's about a mile.
Okay.
So it's relatively easy for the average, and I state that the average individual. But of course, just like we did in Grand Cayman, if you can't walk it and you're coming on your donkey, or you're coming on your motorcycle, or you're coming on your bicycle, in your car, it's perfectly okay, because we're getting prepared to accommodate persons just exactly like we did here in Grand Cayman, doing the same in Cayman Brack, so that everybody can participate in the way that they are best able to do so.
Okay. So what was the motivation behind this March for Jesus?
It was to proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, but
Right.
also to bring unity in the body of Christ.
It was the first one, or you've
No,
done this before?
we've-
Because I know you've done this before.
Yeah, it's the first all-denominational March for Jesus. Sorry, it's the second all-denominational March for Jesus. The first one was last year. But Marching for Jesus is not new in Cayman. It was done on smaller scales by individual churches, and they'd go for their praise walks and that sort of stuff. Pastor Alison Ebanks and Reverend Bishop Sykes can give a lot of history on the efforts of the church before to keep marches going. This one is different in that it brings the churches together. And I think that's a good place to talk about syncretism, which is trying to bring different religions together as one. This is not syncretism. This is the body of Christ coming together as Christ prayed that we would. You know, in John 17, he prayed and he said, I pray that they are one, that they would be one in me as I am in you.
Right.
The Bible also speaks about in Psalms how beautiful it is when brethren are in unity.
Right.
It also says that unity commands the blessings of God. What we have in the church is we have a church that recognizes itself because of its walls, its building. And then we have another one with the same concept, and another one with the same concept, and there's something that's called denominations, and each one of these is operating in a denomination. While you may have different branches of that church, even if it's 5 branches of that church, they're operating under one denomination.
Right.
The next one's operating under the next denomination. But if we look back at what Christ said in Luke, when the 2 disciples came back, and I think it was John and another one, and they came back and they said, Master, we saw some men driving out demons in your name, but we told them to stop because they weren't from us. They were not one of your 12 disciples, so we told them to stop. Christ told them, don't do that.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Let them cast out the demons.
Yeah, if they're doing it right,
we can't do all of
they're
it.
doing the right thing, right? In other words, don't
Yes.
get into this division thing of
Right.
us and them.
Right.
All right, because
we can't be everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And so
Yes.
the disciples were looking at it right then as, there's us who's in your clique, and there's them who is outside of your clique, right? Today we look at that and we call it denomination.
Yeah.
That's not what Christ envisaged for his body, the body
Right.
of people who believe that he is Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior. So one of the things I try to emphasize, which is one of the reasons of the March for Jesus, is unity in the body of Christ. And I often do this and compare, and often when I'm doing this, I compare this to when I was a sinner, when I was committed to sin. Yeah, when I was committed to sin, because it's one of the two things. You're either a sinner or you're not a sinner. There's no gray area in it. You're committed to sinning or you're committed to not sinning.
Right.
All right? Not that you're perfect in either of those two spheres. Both of them take a lot of work, a lot of commitment, a lot of repetition, but your commitment is in one or the other. Right?
Right.
And when I was committed to being a sinner, the people around me were very committed.
Right.
Very unified, right? And so if I wanted to get something done and I said, yo, Catherine, this is what I just thought about. And CT says, well, CT and Catherine are the same person also. Well, what you need from me? I said, but can I borrow your phone? Sure, no problem, because you know that somehow you're going to benefit from this. Either it's immediately after I succeed, or when you need my help in the future, I'm going to be there for you
Right.
also, because we understand unity.
Right.
But then we realized I needed a ride, and I don't have a ride, and I don't have a phone to call anybody. So you says, well, let me check my girl Monica and see if she can give you a ride.
Right.
All right.
Got a little network going on.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
And a unified network. All right. And so I was able to accomplish the wrong that I wanted to do, the sin that I wanted to do, because of the unity.
Right, right.
Now, what I seen as I got saved was there was no unity. Very little. And when there was, it was very short lived. It would be for a moment. It would be for one instance.
Right.
And then it just fell away, And I'm hopeful that through the March for Jesus, people coming together and realizing that, look, we all love Jesus Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
We all we just Jesus lovers, right?
Yeah.
We all in this thing together.
Yes.
We have the same mind of one accord.
Doesn't matter what church you're at or what church you're at or.
That's right,
so-
because we're here as lovers of Jesus to proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior of the Cayman Islands. So, yes, with that having been said, I'm going to let Dr. Monica do her invitations out to the pastors over there pastors and congregants over there in Cayman Brac in Spanish. Now, for those of you who are listening and don't speak Spanish, just take it from us here in the studio. We know what she's saying.
It's about the invitations.
All right. You could probably say it in Spanish and then say it in English too to make the people feel comfortable.
Yes. I just invite everyone to come and with us, enjoy this beautiful event, because it's to proclaim Jesus,
Amen.
our Savior.
Amen.
And it doesn't matter if you speak Spanish, Philippine, Jamaicans. It doesn't matter. Just come and proclaim Jesus Christ, that He's our Savior, and be united and enjoy and worship Him. And that moment should be special just for Him.
Amen.
That we should say, Lord, I have appointment with you.
Yes.
At 4 o'clock at
Yes.
Cayman Brac, the 22nd of June, 2024. And then to my community Spanish people, I just want to say, quiero decirles que este hermoso evento es para proclamar a Jesús. Que Jesús es nuestro Señor y que nosotros somos el cuerpo de Cristo, los que realmente Él confía que proclamemos y hagamos lo correcto delante de Él. Así que los esperamos en Cayman Brac este 22 de junio. No te lo pierdas. Please do not miss it.
Amen.
This is going to be a wonderful, what is the best thing to do? To be in the presence of the Lord than anything else. Anything else doesn't matter, but to be in the presence of the Lord is like to be.
It's the best thing
It's
ever.
the best thing ever. Yes.
Go ahead, so tell all them Spanish people that was in that march for Jesus on the 18th of May. Tell them, call Cayman Airways.
Okay.
Tell Cayman Airways they're part of that March for Jesus group.
Mm-hmm.
Call Alexandria. Tell Alexandria Hotel the same thing. And come, let's go over to Cayman Brac. Wait to tell them Spanish people that from
Sí, mis queridos hermanos aquí de Gran Caimán, por favor llamen a Cayman Airways. Díganle que ustedes vienen en el grupo de la Marcha para Jesús. Ellos les van a dar un descuento y también llamen al Hotel Alexander. Ahí también tienen un buen precio para todos los que vamos a disfrutar esta marcha. Así que los esperamos.
All right, let's go. Let's make
Yes,
it.
Amen. Now, we also want to put out an invitation to the Filipino population here in Grand Cayman to come on, let's go over there and join the Filipino population over in Cayman Brac as well. Now, I don't speak Tagalog,
right,
but I know that you all understand what I'm saying also. So come on, let me go over to Cayman Brac and join up with the Filipino Christian population over there and praise God and do your thing like how you did on the 18th of May. They were phenomenal.
Great.
The Filipinos who were, like all people who were there, but it's them I'm speaking to right now. They were phenomenal.
Yes.
They were awesome. They were a large group in that.
Lovely how
yes.
they singing, the
Yes.
anointing of the Lord, how they move.
June 22nd.
Yes.
June 22nd, starting at 4.
At 4 p.m.
In Cayman
at the
Brac.
port. Yes, to Watering Place Gardens.
All right.
And, Watering Place Gardens, that was what the Honorable Premier made sure that up there has this beautiful, I went and look at it, it's really, really nice setup. All its cabanas and everything. It should make it really easy for us to be able to accommodate the persons there at the on the 22nd of June for the March for Jesus, So, and of course, we have the politicians who are supporting this again this time, and the pastors and the people. So come on, let's go to Cayman Brac for the
great.
March for Jesus, 22nd of June, 2024.
Yes.
You will not regret it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon, Katina and Dr. Monica Blandon, or Pastor Monica Blandon. And all roads lead to the Brac for June 22nd for the March for Jesus.
Yes. Amen.
This year.
Amen.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Amen.
So the next time I want to see Katina, I'll just come sit on Talk Today, and I know that you'll show up.
No, as a matter of fact, I think I have some appointment in there for CTS.
I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
But we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with more Talk Today, so stay tuned. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
The mission of the National Conservation Council and the Department of Environment is to ensure our islands consider responsible use of our natural resources while preserving our native species and habitats for future generations. Learn more at conservation.ky.
We are Radio Cayman.
Covering Cayman Right, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman.
1 in a million. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Jevi Ebanks. The Cayman Turtle Center is celebrating World Sea Turtle Day with a weekend of activities, including Green Friday Dress for a Cause on June 14th, where participants can wear green and donate to Green Sea Turtle Conservation. The day also features a turtle release event at Governor's Beach at 10 a.m., including the release of a turtle named Martha and another named via a contest. The events aim to promote awareness and support for marine conservation. In regional news, the Belize Agricultural Health Authority denies issuing export licenses for sugar and states it does not regulate export quantities. Baja's role is to ensure imported food safety and support exports through inspection and certification, ensuring compliance with importing countries' conditions. Only Belize Sugar Industries and Santander Sugar receives Baja certifications for sugar exports. Baja emphasizes its commitment to protecting Belize agriculture and supporting legal trade. Former Jamaican Prime Minister P.J. Patterson has criticized the Constitutional Reform Committee's proposal for electing a president through a two-stage process involving the opposition, stating it could undermine the rule's legitimacy. He suggests a unanimous approach, similar to Barbados for selecting a head of state. Patterson also calls for clear definitions if extending Senate membership beyond political parties, particularly considering the role of the diaspora, given their allegiance concerns. He emphasizes the need for careful consideration of these reforms. That is your latest headlines. I'm Jevi Ebanks.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Silva, you going with that car again? Welcome back to Talk Today. Let me tell you something. The experience with Silva versus Susan is very, very different. It's a man and woman thing, you know. Silva like, come on, let's go.
We going.
I'm going.
You're not in this car yet.
It's tiring. Let me tell you, boy. I got to stay on my toes. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. Catherine, Tyson, Sewell, and I am sitting in for Sterling. And we're on the home stretch. It is the last half hour of Talk Today, my last day for the week, and winding that up. And yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Before I continue, because I know I'm going to forget, and my son is always saying, tell the people about CTS Wind Down Show. If they want to hear more from you, if you want to hear more from Catherine Tyson, you like what you hear, you know, tune into the CTS Wind Down Show. It's on 4 o'clock this afternoon, actually on Fridays from 4 to 5 on Bobo FM 89.1. I know there's something playing on Radio Cayman at also, but just switch over there and you can hear some, you know, some little interviews and music and stuff like that, and get a little bit more of your Catherine Tyson, Phil, I guess. Catherine Tyson, Sewell, Phil.
Yeah, I would say positivity.
Yes.
Get your fill of positivity.
Because I'm all about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I throw a little music in too.
Yeah, because there are interviews kicking around all the time. Some of them can be so negative and just so pull me down type of thing, you know.
Yes.
Destructive instead of edifying.
Yeah.
So to get your fill of positivity.
Thank you. CTS Wind Down, yes, and that is to get you ready for the weekend. But you're right. That's what it's all about. That's all I'm trying to do is keep people positive and you know just trying to figure out when things happen. How do we figure out how to get out of that? How do we figure out how to do better? Like that's what I would call a motto for me is how do we figure out how to deal with it? How do we figure it out?
Or even like your New Year's show where it was about how you put things in place from the beginning to make things work better.
Exactly.
You know, because if you can avoid things going downhill, well, then you don't have to try to get back up the hill again.
Right. And I think today's show, I'm touching on it's still so January. If you didn't do things, it's June. It's still a J. So get started now.
Okay. All right. Start it now and review it back in the next J and see how well you have done with that.
Exactly.
Like
So it's a good 6 month type of thing, you know. But yes, you're still hearing Katina Anglin, chaplain to Katina Anglin's voice, attorney at law, and she's here with Dr. Monica Blandon, Pastor Monica Blandon. They're talking about the March for Jesus. I was trying to get them out the chair because you heard I said goodbye, but they wouldn't leave. So they have some things to tell you. So tell us quick. And I love having you all. You're amazing, beautiful women.
Well, the truth of what happened was we were so charmed by the lady.
No, not true.
We couldn't leave from the studio. But
That's
anyway,
not true.
but things like that happen, you know, when you get into good company, you find it hard to leave.
Yes,
It becomes enchanting.
It was a mistake. It was a mix-up for timing. So they weren't wrong to remain seated, and I wasn't wrong to say, "What are you doing, still sitting?" But
you
yes,
know what?
you're
Going
here.
back to that thing you were talking about just now, when we find ourselves in that situation, how do we
Figure it out.
How do we figure it out?
And
what
you
do
know
we do?
the other thing of that as well, and I talk about this all the time to us as Caymanians, you know, that you just got to stay the course. Like you all did not move from those chairs, and that's how it has to be sometimes.
That's
You
right,
gotta
'cause
stay- know what you want and stay the course.
Right. So in Ephesians, it talks about standing, taking your position and standing.
Yes.
You know, and that's pretty much what we did. We
Yes.
came in and
Don't be discouraged.
Yeah.
Don't
So-
let anybody sway you when you know you have something to do. And I say that all the time to my young Caymanians, especially. We can't talk about how people are taking our islands or get in the lines, because if you're not in the line, your name's not going to be called.
Then that's
so
it.
you can't be
That's
sitting on the sidelines complaining about who's
on the court.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So
Well, what we want to do now is, now that we've told everybody about this great event that's going to happen on the 22nd of June, the March where Jesus came and back, we want to tell you how you can keep up with us and how you can get more information on it. And we just want to let everybody to know that the March for Jesus is supported by the pastoral body in Cayman Brac, by the United Pentecostal Church, by the Iglesia de
Nación en Santidad.
Thank you very much. And by the Cotton Tree Bay Church, Pastor Tom French, Fellowship Church with Pastor Mike Irby, Pastor Audley Scott. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, you know, because they're all in this. So just in case you're wondering, like, well, okay, so which churches are supporting this? All of them.
Right.
All right. Now, if you want more information about the March for Jesus, just send us a WhatsApp text at 929-6657 or visit www.christian.ky, or you can drop us an email at info@christian.ky. Now, also, because if Spanish is your prominent language, the one that you communicate best with, I'd prefer that you call Dr. Monica, and she's going to give you the information, her contact information, in just a minute. And she's also going to speak to the Spanish population in Spanish about contact details and so on. I'm going to repeat it here again for the benefit of those who understand me. And that is our call and text number is 929-6657. Website is www.christian.ky. Email address info@christian.ky. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Así es, Miss Katina. Para toda nuestra comunidad hispana, si quieren comunicarse para ir al evento, este es el número en WhatsApp. 929-6657, 929-6657, o pueden visitar www.christian.ky, o pueden llamarme al 923-9084. Dios me los bendiga y allá los esperamos.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate
much
that,
gratitude
ladies.
to the Ministry of Heritage.
Yes.
Afternoon.
Yes, we are going to. You guys can remain there if you'd like, since you stayed in the chairs. People are watching. Miss Bentisha Connolly, I think we're going to just say hello to you and just make sure that, you know, we're letting people know that we do have another guest, and we're going to be talking to you about the documentary preview. You're the events manager from the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Heritage. Thank you so much for joining us. And
thanks for having me.
Apologies for you hijacking your interview here.
That's all right. It's lovely to be, you know, able to do that for Katina and her group. So
yes,
thanks for having me, and I look forward to our conversation.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more talk today, so stay tuned.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Cybercrime happens online or through the technology we use every day. Anyone can be a victim of cybercrime, whether you are a young person being bullied or harassed online, or an older person or business who's been scammed out of money or personal data. Cybercrime is an issue that touches all of us. The Cayman Islands government has therefore created an online resource to help keep you cyber safe in an ever-changing world.
In online situations, it is better to be cyber safe than sorry. Learn now to protect yourself against cybercrime. Visit gov.ky/cybersafe.
The Church of God Chapel's Children's Choir presents Sermon on the Mount, Catch the Spirit, for 2 nights only, June 23 and 30. That's 7 p.m. each evening at the Family Life Center on Academy Way and Walkers Road. Admission is free. Bring the whole family and come for great entertainment and inspiration. That's June 23 and 30 at 7 p.m. at the Family Life Center on Academy Way and Walkers Road. Sermon on the Mount, Catch the Spirit.
Did you know that there are over 300 public rights-of-ways to the shoreline across the 3 Cayman Islands? Now you can find them easily with the new Shoreline iMap at gov.ky/shoreline. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
And welcome back to Talk Today. Catherine Tyson Sewell, I am your host. And what's on my mind is Silver. At least he let me get in the car this time. Thank you all so much for joining me. It's been a full day. It's been, lots of guests in the studio, which has been awesome. And of course, I had introduced my guest before the break. So I'll just start the conversation with Miss Bentisha Connolly, who is the events manager at the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage. You just have a fun job.
Yes, I do.
You do. Oh my goodness. How long have you been doing this?
Well, tell you the truth, I've been confirmed as the events manager now for 1 year. A few days ago.
Okay.
1 year, June 1st gone. But been doing events and stuff, literally my entire life. So
yes,
it's you find your passion.
That's
it's
nice.
not work.
Yes, no, for sure. All right, so tell us about this documentary that the preview of the documentary that's going on.
So everyone would know by now that we've just celebrated our Emancipation Day.
Right.
The return of that holiday on May 6th.
Okay.
And so there are components of it that we just could not cram into the month. So there's a few things that still are going to take place coming up here shortly. And one of them is the previewing of the documentary that we are doing for this year. And I say preview because they're still working on it to make sure that we encompass everything that our local experts all the knowledge that they have about this. And I mean, we've talked about the documentary previously and said that, it's not just a one-off documentary. What we are trying to do with the ministry is to build that oral history for us, something that we have very little of and we need to have a lot more of it.
Right.
And so this is one of the ways we're doing that. So this preview, which is it will be about 20 minutes long, and then we'll have a Q&A with the persons that we've identified as our local historical experts. Dr. Roy Bodden, Dr. Steve McField, Dr. Roy Murray, Miss Lucille Seymour, and Dr. Christopher Williams are all featured throughout the documentary for their actual knowledge in the historical context of slavery and what it was for the Cayman Islands. So we're going to preview the documentary. on Friday, the 14th of June, so a week from today.
Yes.
At Cayman Bay Cinemas, and there will be 2 showtimes, 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Sorry about that. And so, like I said, the documentary is about 20 minutes long, and then it'll be followed up by a Q&A session for about 20 minutes with those experts that we'll have on hand that were in the preview.
Okay. Now, why did you decide to call it a preview?
Because the full-length documentary will probably be about an hour and a half.
Okay.
But we originally wanted to do a teaser during the Emancipation Day celebrations that we were having, but things just didn't fall into place.
Okay.
And so we didn't want to shortchange it.
Yeah.
And, not give it the oomph
right
that it deserves.
So when is the full length going to be available, you think?
Well, right now, and I will say a big shout out to and thanks to Sands Production Limited. So Matt Brown and his company have been filming and editing and producing this. So the deadline for them is the end of the summer.
Okay.
So we should announce that full documentary will be in the cinema in what would be Q3.
Right. Okay. So I'm just going by my notes. Why are we doing this?
So this documentary meets one of our key priorities, which is awareness and preservation of our history, of our heritage and our history.
Right.
I've said it several times and I keep saying it. To know who we are as a people and where we're going, we need to know where we came from. Where we're from.
I love the T-shirt.
Yes.
Where can people get one of those?
These are actually staff shirts.
Okay.
So when we go to events and stuff like that, we wear this so you can identify exactly who we are.
It's nice.
But yeah, as a people, we need to know. We need to know our history. And key for us is we need to know our history from us.
Right.
What we've had in the past is people coming here to the Cayman Islands and telling us.
Or figuring it out and
Yes.
then telling us what they found out.
Yes.
But which is that's nice.
It's
Thank
nice.
you. But if we could get it from
Right.
people that actually, were there, or like even with the veterans, when you talk to them and the different things that they can share, that's the actual knowledge from someone who you know what I mean? Like someone from the soil. So it hits a little different.
It does.
Yes.
It does. I mean, I've seen little snippets, and we showed a little snippets during Emancipation Day of some of it. And to sit and listen to Dr. Steve and Dr. Roy, both Dr. Roy's and Miss Lucille talk, it's, wow. By nature, I'm a historian.
Yeah.
And by trade, I'm a historian, a history teacher. And so to actually hear that history firsthand from my people.
Yes.
It makes me feel like, what? This is who I am, and this is how me being here has contributed to where the Cayman Islands are and where they're going.
Right.
And so if we do that now, we can teach our kids, this is where your history.
Right. And you can be a part of the progress.
Yes.
Right? Like you don't feel separated from the progress because you have the foundation, you have the knowledge. So I'm just read this. It's been 62 years since Cayman last celebrated or acknowledged Emancipation Day, and as such, the ministry appreciates that there may be some persons in our community who may not be fully aware of the details of this significant part of our history.
Yes. So there's a lot of people who, not knowing our history, and in part it's kind of our fault. We think what we're teaching in schools and what we have been taught is the end all be all.
Right.
But when you go through school and you go through your educational journey like that, they teach you snippets.
Right.
They don't get to the full picture.
The meat.
Right.
The meat of the deal. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So in trying to make sure that the full picture is seen is one of our missions, in preserving and making aware of the heritage that we have.
Right. That's great. No, that's great. I'm very excited about this. I have to register. I'll put my name down somewhere. Year of the Return, Emancipation History Through Our People. It's going to be on Friday, the 14th of June, which is next Friday, and it's from 10 a.m. and then another showing at 11 a.m.
Yes.
You may have to fling in another one at 12.
We may have to.
Depending on who wants to do this. And what can people do to sign up for it?
So to register and secure your seat, you can either call 244-2424 or visit any of the the ministry's social media pages. So our Facebook page as well as our Instagram. Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage is our Facebook handle, and on Instagram it's MYSCH_Cayman, and click on the link in our bio. It'll take you to a form for you to sign up, or again you can call 244-2424 and someone can sign you up that way. We do have a limited number of seats because the cinema only has 150 seats per room.
Yes.
So get in your registration now so that you can secure yourself a seat.
And there is no reason why this theater should not be filled to capacity.
Yes.
Both seatings and needing to do a third, because we need to know our history.
We do.
Yes. And I think for the work that you've put into it and the Sands production, I know is that Matt and Ben?
Yes, that's Matt and Ben.
Who are amazing. And
Amazing.
Mari also. Mari is Ben's wife, and they're incredible. So all that work, I know it's going to be a great show. For us to just, be able to go there. And then the Q&A, meet the historians, meet the people who know. And Miss Lucille was in earlier this week, and she is a wealth of knowledge. Dr. Steve McField, forget about it. Dr. Roy, Christopher Williams, all these people that, they're just really very interesting to speak to anyway.
Yes.
But just being able to just get this information on our heritage, where do we come from? Because I think a lot of times in Cayman, we tend to have this little insulated feeling that we weren't affected by some of these global things, and we absolutely were, right?
And the thing is, we still are.
Right. Exactly. Every day. Exactly. But it was funny because one of my guests, Dr. Croy McCoy, I asked him if he was related to McCoy. He said, no, I'm not related to the Cayman McCoys. So he's from the BRAC originally, grew up in Little Cayman. And I'm thinking to myself, that's because because of our history, because there's no, I guess, thought that two McCoys, you got a McCoy over in the BRAC and a McCoy over here, that they may not be related per se, but how we got here
is probably the same way.
And a lot of people don't want to say, they sometimes even shy away from it.
Yes.
No, that's foolishness. It's not foolishness.
No.
It's a part of our heritage. It's a part of our history. It's where we're from.
Exactly. So, and in that same breath, I'm originally from the BRAC. I'm born, bred, will retire and die in the BRAC, because that is that 14 by 1 is where my heart lies. And I've had people ask, are you family to the Conleys over here? And yeah, I am. Those Conleys from East End and North Side, I'm family to those.
Yes.
Can't remember how all
the ones with the one end and the ones with the two ends.
The one neck and two legs. That's how you differentiate them. But yeah, we're all, our story is all interconnected, and that interconnection is how we preserve and make aware of the heritage that these islands have for us.
Right, absolutely.
So,
and if we love our country, if we love this Cayman that is ours, and that we have, this is our passport, and some of us don't have any other passports, just that one, then it would be in our best interest to really, learn where we came from.
Yes.
In order for us to be invested in where we're going.
That is it. That is very true. And so, getting all of that knowledge, especially for our younger generation, the generation that is now waking up and going, oh, I need to know how Caymanian are you and how Caymanian am I.
Right.
Well, guess what? this is where we start.
Yeah, this is the start. So if schools are interested, they're able to reach out same way, register their classes. I think I think you probably need to do a full day just for the schools alone, because our young people need to see these things.
Yes,
they need to know.
I mean, like I said, if we get the uptake from the schools and the desire for the students to see these things, we don't shy away from putting the money where it needs to go, and you know, making sure that our students are able to view this and get the knowledge and being able to ask, especially because there are questions that we'll miss. And I say it like this, not trying to age yourself or myself, Catherine, but as older Caymanians, we don't sometimes see the questions that are butting in the eyes of children.
Right.
And they'll ask a question and we'll sit back and go, I never thought about it that way.
Right. You were thinking that? Exactly.
Exactly. So we want to make sure that those questions are answered and they're asked by our kids. So if the schools do, you know, want to bring, and I know they're even more sizable now than when we were in school,
right.
Let us know.
Yes.
Because the ministry is very keen on, and we work together with the Ministry of Education to make sure that our students have and can be able to view this documentary.
Right. I'll repeat, to register, they can call 244-2424. Again, 244-2424. Or visit the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage Facebook page, or on Instagram, it's MYSCH, right?
Mm-hmm.
MYSCH, so that's like ministry school there. MYSCH_Cayman, and click on the link in the bio, and then it will take you to the page to register. So there's a couple of ways that you can register. And I would say take up space. Go do it. Go.
Yes.
Like, come on. Get your lunch break early in the day, you know, if you're working, and go see if you can do that. I want to do it for sure.
And it's free. We haven't said that, and it is free of cost to anyone who wants to sign up and come and view it. So
awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Ventisha, and thanks for being so patient with my lovelies that are, you know, marching for Jesus in Cayman Brac.
Yes.
Your stomping ground.
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I think I've got work things here happening that weekend, so I won't be able to join them. But I love coming to Radio Cayman and getting, you know, even just a few minutes being on air and telling everyone what we're doing and talking with the hosts. It's a wonderful thing. So you know, it's all right for them to take a couple minutes.
Yes, and it's awesome what you're doing, and like you said, it doesn't even feel like work.
No,
it's amazing. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for what you're doing for us. The Year of the Return: Emancipation History Through Our People. The preview of the documentary, it airs Friday the 14th, June 2024. You can call to register. You can go to the Facebook page for the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage, or you can go to Instagram, MYSCH_Cayman, and click in the link in the bio, and you're able to register for this. And I hope that you really do that. And I say this all the time. There's so many things happening in Cayman, and those things are free to us. And so just get yourself out the house, dust yourself off, and go and take up space. There's going to be a Global Wellness Day, it looks like, tomorrow, Saturday, 8th of June, and that's going to be at the Paseo and Crescent, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. That looks like something that might be fun to do with the kids. Just take a walk. It might be a wet day, but you know, check it out and see. And also, don't forget, tonight there is that concert by that I've been talking about this whole week. The concert there. What is that? I'm trying to see if I can find the name again. I don't want to butcher their name. The Cayman National Choir and Orchestra, and they're going to be having a nice, beautiful concert tonight at the Harquail, 7:30. Cost is $30. It's on eventpro.ky. I'm going to keep promoting these things because I want you guys to get involved, get out there, let your voices be heard, let your faces be seen, because this is Cayman and you're a Caymanian, and this is what we should be doing. And also, Don't forget, you can catch up with me on the CTS Wind Down Show at 4 o'clock this evening, I guess a couple of hours, and I'm talking all day, 4 to 5, and that's on Bobo FM, and that's every Friday. Thank you all so much for listening, for tuning in, for watching, and, just showing up every day for Talk Today. I love that. I love all the calls this week. I want you guys to have a safe and good weekend, enjoying your family, your friends, taking care of yourself, rejuvenating yourself to do it all once again on Monday. But stay safe. Take care.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.